Coach Carter is a sports movie classic. Starring movie icon Samuel L. Jackson as high school basketball coach Ken Carter, it tells the story of how one coach helped change the lives of the student athletes on the basketball team at an inner-city high school in Northern California. The film was produced by MTV Films in 2005, hitting the top spot at the box office. It features pop star Ashanti as the girlfriend of one of the basketball players and was the film debut of Channing Tatum, who has gone on to become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. In the movie, Ken Carter, one of Jackson's most famous non-Tarantino roles, returns to his former high school, Richmond High, to become the school's basketball coach. Though he was a star player when he played at the school, the boys on the team have little respect for him, at first. He whips them into shape through physical training and has them sign contracts that promise that they will keep their GPA above a 2.3 and that they will adhere to a certain code of conduct. When they fail to honor the contract, he keeps them off of the court despite the team's winning record. Keeping them disciplined ultimately leads his players to success not only on the court but in their real lives. While Coach Carter has all the trappings of a high school sports movie like Remember the Titans, complete with the savior-teacher trope, it doesn't end with the typical victory on the court. Instead, the message is that Carter taught the students that their measure of success is not just how well they can play basketball. All of Carter's basketball players graduated when only a small percentage were expected to, and most went on to colleges, showing how effective his methods were. The movie ends on a positive note, even inspiring the hopeful TikTok trend 15 years later, but how much of the story is real? Is Coach Carter based on a true story? Coach Carter is based on events that actually happened. Ken Carter is a real person who actually was the basketball coach of Richmond High School in Northern California. The movie is based on the 1998-1999 season lockout, which made national news. In real life, Carter locked the gym and kept his undefeated basketball team, such as Channing Tatum's Jason Lisle, from competing because they did not honor the academic and behavioral contracts that he had them sign at the beginning of the season. According to the actual Carter, the freshman, junior varsity, and varsity teams were all 13-0, which was the best start in school history. His decision to lock the gym and forfeit games until the players raised their GPAs was unpopular with the community, but when it made national news, then California Governor Gray Davis called him a hero and came to the Oilers' first game after improving their grades. Ken Carter was heavily involved in the production of the film and made sure that the story was as close to accurate as possible. His involvement in the creative process is what kept the film from having a cliched happy ending where the team wins the championship like the way back. He wanted to be sure that the film showed a story as close to the truth as possible, making it clear that winning wasn't everything for this team. Aside from a few creative liberties to make the story more cinematic, Carter's perspective on the story was honored. How accurate is Coach Carter's story? What does it change? According to the real Ken Carter in an interview with the Chicago Sun-Times, most of the story from the movie is accurate. He actually was a former Richmond High School basketball player, setting the scoring record at the school, which his son Damian, who really did withdraw himself from private school to play for the Oilers, went on to break. The 1999 team did get locked out of the gym for poor academic performance during the 1998-1999 season, the year Michael Jordan retired for a second time. In fact, it was the national news coverage of the story that inspired the movie. He didn't, however, leave the gym locked the entire time, as other sports and classes needed to use the gym. Carter did have some pushback from the parents, his players, and the community for his actions, but his focus on academics proved successful in real life, as well. The graduation rate for student athletes in Richmond was low, and Carter's basketball players all graduated during his time as coach from 1997 to 2002. The biggest change from the real story is the students. None of the students depicted in the movie are actual students that Carter coached during his time at Richmond, other than his own son Damien, played by Robert Richard, of House of Wax fame. The character names and circumstances were made up so as not to embarrass any of Carter's real students. One of Carter's assistant coaches, Daryl Robinson, told the Daily Californian that none of their athletes were troublemakers and that the film embellished their involvement with violence and criminal activities. The movie also only shows Richmond High School to have a varsity basketball team, but in reality, they had freshman, junior varsity, and varsity teams, all of which Carter coached during his 5 years at Richmond High. Finally, Coach Carter changed the varsity Oilers' win record to 16-0 before the lockdown. The team ultimately lost in the second round of their district playoffs instead of the first round of the state tournament. What happened to Coach Carter after the movie? Ken Carter was considered a hero in Richmond after the 1998-1999 season. He continued to coach at Richmond High School until 2002, at which point he left to coach the LA Rumble, a professional slamball team. A prime candidate for a sports comedy like Dodgeball, Slamball is a form of basketball that is played on 4 trampolines that also has a professional league that originally aired games on Spike TV. He also went on to carry the Olympic torch in the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, which he considered a great honor. Coach Carter ends after the team comes back to Richmond High after their loss in the state tournament, showing what became of each student following the movie. In reality, Carter's basketball players did all graduate from high school, with many attending college. One of the players from the 1998-1999 season that Carter coached was Courtney Anderson, who became an NFL tight end and played for the Oakland Raiders, the Detroit Lions, the team both Eddie Brock and Axel Foley support, and the Atlanta Falcons from 2004 to 2007. After the Coach Carter movie came out, Ken Carter became a motivational speaker and is the founder of the Coach Ken Carter Foundation, which, just like in the movie, focuses on improving the lives of BIPOC students through education, training, and mentoring. Coach Carter's controversial decision to lock the gym and keep his undefeated team from playing really did change the lives of everyone involved, including himself. He remains a hero, especially in his hometown of Richmond, California, where the real Coach Carter is now. Coach Carter turns 20 in a few years, so what is the real Ken Carter up to? Ken Carter is still very much in the full stride of his career, having continued his work as a motivational speaker and author since the mid-2000s. He founded a school in Texas in 2009, the Coach Carter Impact Academy boarding school, of which he is the dean and headmaster. The school operates a strict regimen of success through self-discipline, although in a more wholesome way than the military school Francis attended in Malcolm in the Middle. Carter also owns and runs Primetime Publishing and Primetime Sports, which offers sports marketing services. As an author, he's released 2 books, 2005's Coach Carter, My Life, and 2012's Yes Ma'am, No Sir, The 12 Essential Steps for Success in Life. He reconnected with former Richmond students in 2018, and one, Wayne Oliver, went on to be an international basketball player after playing under Carter in high school. It seems that Ken Carter, the father and former basketball coach who inspired Coach Carter, continues to be a role model to this day.
With a gentle touch, you tell me what all love I have to share. It must be 'cause you are what I all knew. Only you do know, you do know, you do know. Only you do know the courage. Still moving, still sad, thought to know what went wrong. Have sat there low out of the wind, what if you could bring them down?